Bill Walton here, Celtics 1986. You're listening to the Causeway Street Podcast. Yeah, come here for nothing but the truth. This is where dreams come true. Thank you, Boston, for my life.
Back with another episode of the Causeway Street Podcast. The Celtics are on a 7-game winning streak. Sean, you've been on a roll. You said that they're going to win back-to-back weeks, and they did.
What we needed.
Here we are, Celtics, 7-game winning streak. You got
the most in NBA, fellas.
You got Kyrie Irving going off against John Wall Wednesday night. You got Robert Williams getting valuable minutes and coming through. And you got one hell of a Celtics team right now, hottest team in the NBA, putting up damn near 130 points throughout this stretch. And you have a light schedule ahead of you. So this streak could get really going soon. Because, you know, once you get to double-digit territory, that's when they really start talking about you. So, Celtics right now are rolling. And, of course, we'll talk about that. We'll also talk about Jaylen Brown and what he had to say to Jack McMullen. It's the talk of the town right now. His article on ESPN.
Everybody's chatting
Didn't play Wednesday night against the Wizards. But when he does come back, it's going to be interesting to see how he responds after that article. Because, let's face it, it's what everyone will be thinking when we see him. And we also got Chris Grenham of SB Nation joining us. He'll actually join us in a couple of minutes here. But first things first, I just have to give props to Sean because, man, I feel like I'm in the Griswold's crib right now, man. You got the Christmas ornaments out front. You got
you see them bitches from the highway, bro.
Hell yeah. Have you how many compliments have you received from your neighbors?
Nah, man.
No, your neighbors suck, man. They're awful.
For some reason, I haven't been by, dude. I don't know. I deck it out.
No, they're like zombies, man. It was one thing with the Halloween thing, but like, man, first of all, no one has any decorations up.
I will say.
Like, I don't even see lights up. Nothing.
They started to half-ass it after I put my lights up. I will say that.
They're like, we're motivated.
Who
the fuck's this new guy?
Man, making us look bad. I used to be the one with the bushes lit up in my neighborhood.
You're setting the example. That's what you're doing.
Yeah, man. Yep. So changing the culture of Chestnut Drive, man. Changing the culture.
I can't wait to see what Sean has to say about Jaylen Brown, but we're going to try to hold him off as much as we can.
Real quick, what was good with John Wall exaggerating as if his leg fell off on one of those drives?
And then he goes back in the game.
And fucking, I thought it was bad when I saw Kyrie Irving. I saw Kyrie Irving like rubbing his ankle like, yo, you good, bro? And John Wall's banging the floor, and I'm just like, oh shit, maybe it was worse than what it was. And 30 seconds later, he's back in the game.
How about when Kyrie Irving went to the bench to check on him and he wouldn't even look at him?
He wouldn't even look at him.
I'm like, yo, it's not Kyrie's fault, man. It was just a freak accident.
Get out of here, man.
Yeah. I'm going to get you in like 30 seconds. Kyrie Irving puts one in his eye. Like you couldn't have gotten any closer to Kyrie Irving from the corner.
I love fucking
sinks it in his eye.
Scal's fucking reaction to that
and then
too.
sinks another one right after that. What did Scal do?
Scal on the broadcast was just like, it's a lot of theatrics there for Wall.
Yeah.
To come back in literally less than a minute later. I don't understand. And Mike Orman was like, I totally agree.
After all the
I love it.
After all the commotion.
That's John Wall, though, man. That's John Wall. I think
like after every drive, he was bitching about a foul. Like, yo, when's this dude gonna get teed up for fucking smacking his arm every time?
It's easily his best performance of the season, so he was obviously feeling himself. He was just like, look, I'm gonna go back in there. I'm gonna save the day in overtime.
Those dudes play when they want to play.
Did he just cut his hair?
I don't know.
Is that a fresh cut?
I don't pay attention.
No, it's been like that for a little while. Yeah.
All right.
I think around the time.
You thought that was the fix that he needed?
I think around the time Dwight Howard got in the news, he decided to.
I know what Sean's saying. Sean's saying that's what he needs. That's how you get out of your funk.
No, I mean, he still puts up his points. The team just sucks. That's bottom line.
But speaking of the Wizards game, Chris Grenham was actually in the building covering the Celtics. And he joins us now, waiting patiently on the phone line. Chris, thank you for joining us. Chris Grenham of SB Nation's CelticsBlog.com and CLNS Media. What's up, Grenham? What's going on?
What's going on, guys? How are you?
So I know on TV sometimes it can be a little deceiving, but it sounded like a home game Wednesday night in DC. How accurate is that? I mean, I know there's obviously a lot of Celtics fans there. We saw the jerseys and everything, but like, did I hear MVP chant at the end of that Kyrie Irving play?
Think about this. Imagine being John Wall, right? So you're in a tough position anyway with the situation that's going on in DC, and you play your best game of the season at home, and it ends with people chanting MVP for Kyrie Irving. Like, how depressing is that? If you're John Wall, because like he was really good. He killed the Celtics for the last, I want to say 10 minutes of that game. They had no one at the rim that could get him, that could stop him. He was just putting his head down and going north to south. But it was depressing as shit. If you were a Wizards fan, man, there was so much. I mean, it was cool for the Celtics and stuff. There was a ton of fans, but it was that's a pretty depressing place to play if you're at home, if you're the Wizards, man. It's brutal.
Especially the season they're having, and then like that one game where they're actually like they're going to snap a winning streak.
Yeah, but yeah, it was back to the crowd. It was really loud. There was a lot of green, and there was a lot of "Let's go Celtics" chants throughout the game. So Marcus Morris said it after the game. He was like, you know, it kind of happens in every city. Celtics fans do travel well. They're known for that, but it seemed like it was more so last night. It was pretty crazy.
Yeah, because Brad Stevens mentioned it, and he was like, you know, all 30 cities, you know, across the league. I'm just like, not quite like Wednesday night though, not like Washington.
Yeah, I've never seen it like that. It was pretty crazy. If you're a Wizards player, it's got to be kind of dark, man. Like you're out there in front of your home crowd, and you're finally playing a decent game, and you got people chanting "Let's go Celtics." I just kept putting myself in their shoes and getting really sad.
It's like, shit, yeah, trade me, please.
Yeah, seriously, get me out of here. Yeah. Brad Beal just sitting at center court being like, get me out of this place.
Sean was like, I put up 40. Almost 40 points.
Yeah.
I can't even get it.
Chant an MVP for someone else.
Like Baltimore in late. It's like if the Sox play Baltimore in September and the Orioles are out of it, dude. It's just like,
I said that to someone last night. It's like, yeah, or when they play the Rays down at Tropicana Field. It's the same thing. It's just like a home game, basically.
You know what's funny though? Normally you do hear like the home crowd like try to fight off the chants. Like they'll try the "Let's go Wizards" when the Celtics go crazy. No, I didn't even hear that though.
Not really.
Like, what? Let me go buy a Celtics jersey.
It was like you know when like the overhead guy starts chanting defense with the crowd to try and get the crowd going? When he did it in the first quarter, I think there was like 6 people chanting like defense, and I don't think he ever did it again. He was just like, "No, I'm not going back to that." That's
He's like, I was embarrassed last time I did it.
Yes, it's
like, next time I'm
not worth
offense.
it at all.
See what happens.
Yes, maybe they would have gotten 10 people at that point.
No, I felt like that place erupted. All you can definitely hear all the Celtics fans in the building after Kyrie's not the corner one, but the one from the top of the key.
Oh yeah, the second one.
Yeah,
the second one. Like the crowd erupted. If you were like, do I hear some Celtics fans? You definitely heard.
You knew
Celtics
right
fans
there.
Yeah, that was like the confirmation almost. Both those shots were ridiculous. The one in front of the bench was, as Brad Stevens put it, it was a joke. Like the Wizards couldn't have played better defense. I think it was John Wall that was on him, was right in his mug, and he just buried it. There's really, if you're the Wizards, there's nothing you can do about both of those.
Obviously, we got the Hawks coming up. Got a couple of teams before they face the Bucks, which, in my opinion, I mean, we've been talking about it here on the podcast that, you know, there's the Bucks and then there's the Sixers. So there's a lot of winnable games between early December and Christmas. But how long do you think this winning streak can go? I mean, the Celtics obviously can stretch this thing out, you know, after the Hawks. But do you see it going past the Bucks? Can this team actually go as far as hit double digits here? What's your outlook on this winning streak?
I think it could definitely go double digits. I mean, they're at 7 right now. They've got the Hawks on Friday, then they go to Detroit, and then they got Phoenix coming in. So that, you know, if everything goes as planned, that's 3 wins right there. So now you're at 10. The Bucks are probably the toughest team, in my opinion, in the next couple weeks. I mean, you got them on the 21st, then you got the Hornets, which is a win, and the Sixers on Christmas, and then you go to Houston right after that, which is tough, but of course, they haven't been as good as everyone had planned on them being. So I think the Bucks is the real test. If you can get through them, I think the Celtics still, I like their matchup against the Sixers. I don't really trust Philadelphia solely because of their lack of shooting depth. Like, they've got some good shooters at the surface with Jimmy Butler and JJ Redick, but you get past them, and you don't have to worry about Ben Simmons along the perimeter. It gets pretty shallow. So I think it could definitely go to double digits. It's just a question of how far it goes. And I think that Bucks game that you pointed out is probably the key. If they get past that, I think they got a pretty good chance to stretch this well into that double-digit figure.
All right, so keep it on that winning streak talk. You know, looking back, 2.5 weeks ago, this team was under 500, or right at 500. They rack off 7 straight. So, in your eyes, what has been the key? If you had to pick one thing, what has been the key to this turnaround for the Celtics?
Well, the starting lineup is obviously, the thing that everyone's talking about with Marcus Smart entering that lineup and Marcus Morris as well. He's such an energizer, Smart, and he just impacts everyone around him. So it kind of forces them to pick up their defensive intensity. But I like him playing as a primary ball handler. I say this a lot, and it gets kind of repetitive, but like Kyrie Irving is really good off the ball. It opens up a lot of flexibility for Brad Stevens to work in. Some really solid sets for those two guys at the top. When you think Marcus Smart, you don't really think primary ball handler. You think like a crazy person on defense and a guy who just runs around like his head's been cut off. But he's actually pretty good handling the ball, and Kyrie's worked really well off of it. I think also the second unit, of course, we've seen limited amounts of Jaylen Brown and now Gordon Hayward now that he's sick. But when you get that full unit with him, Gordon Hayward, and Terry Rozier, that's a really damn good unit. Like, there's not any second unit that can compete with that. And I think Gordon Hayward isn't pressing as much. And again, the same thing that goes with Smart and Irving. You allow Gordon Hayward to act as that primary ball handler in the second unit. Terry Rozier can work off the ball, which he's been better in that role for his entire career. So I just think the flexibility of these new lineups, Brad Stevens has had an absolute field day with, and the players seem to be more comfortable within them. So until something goes wrong or someone gets hurt, I don't really see a need to change these lineups. I think that's really been the spark is the rotation changes.
Well, now that we've only seen a couple of games where both Jaylen Brown and Gordon Hayward have come off the bench, but when Gordon got sick and Jaylen Brown played a couple of games without Gordon Hayward in the lineup, we saw what Jaylen Brown could do in limited playing time. Now that we don't know when they'll both be back, they're both sick, whatever the case may be. But do you think they can both coexist? And is one going to hurt the other in terms of like production? Does one need to be in the starting lineup and one need to come off the bench for them to both live up to their potential? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, there could definitely be some conflicts there. I think that's what we saw some of in the starting lineup at the beginning of the year. Obviously, they weren't producing, and a lot of people were putting it on Brown and Hayward. I think Hayward was a very different player even a month ago. He doesn't have that explosion that he used to have yet, and that'll come. I don't think it's going to come until around the All-Star break, but he seems a lot more comfortable, and a lot of that might be because of who he's with in the second unit. You had Jaylen Brown to that. The two of them won't be forcing as much as they would in a starting lineup alongside Kyrie. So I think it frees up some availability for both of them. And I just think that the conflict that we saw with them in the starting lineup isn't going to be as forced in the second unit, which I think will allow them to just play off of one another. And again, if you go back to Gordon Hayward as that primary ball handler, you can have Jaylen off the ball. And Jaylen, I think, in the last couple games, other than the ones that he's missed, like last night, he's been getting to the rim a lot more. He hasn't always been converting, but he is getting to the rim, which he didn't do early on when he played alongside Gordon Hayward. Earlier in the season, similar to Jason Tatum, he was settling for these long twos and settling for three-pointers instead of putting the ball on the floor, even though he's not the greatest dribbler, and getting to the hoop. He can get to the hoop in one dribble. He's athletic enough to do that. So I think in the way they both adapted in the last month, it'll prevent them from really conflicting with one another, which should be ideal for the team.
You know, Chris, Monday night against the Pelicans, we saw this small rift between Jaylen Brown and a couple of teammates. One thing that we pointed out in the Garden Report on CLNS Media, and we talked about it, you know, for a while there. It seemed like no one else caught on to it. And then, you know, it was between Jaylen Brown, Terry Rozier, and there was another separate incident between Jaylen Brown and Marcus Morris. It seemed like there was some sort of miscommunication on a play call. The next day, Jackie McMullen's article comes out, or at least I think it was the Wednesday, actually, the same day of the Wizards game, and Jaylen Brown talks about how this has been the most difficult thing he's had to do throughout his NBA career. Sean, we'll let you get in there. Relax. We all know how you feel about Jaylen Brown, but let's see what Chris says first. What's your take on that? Do you feel like this is sort of a situation where if you magnify it, that Jaylen Brown is going to be put in a tough spot here to deliver, and if he doesn't deliver, how is he going to respond to that? What was your initial response to his conversation with Jack McMullen, to this article about him trying to prove himself that he's worthy to be a starter and that it means that much to him instead of coming off the bench?
Yeah, I'm curious because we talked about this a lot in the preseason. Especially you and I on the Garden Report and stuff. Is how are these guys going to react, like him and Terry Rozier? Because they played major roles down the stretch last year. And, of course, in the playoffs, we all watched them. They were starters, and they thrived. Like, Jaylen Brown had 30-point games in the playoffs, and now he's coming off the bench. So that's not an easy adjustment. But I think Terry Rozier in the last 2 weeks has really, whatever it may be, he's really changed his style of play, his mentality. I have no idea what it is, but he looks far more comfortable, and his play is showing results. Jaylen, on the other hand, seems to still be, not necessarily having trouble adapting, but he's struggling a little bit with that change in role, and that's understandable. It's really understandable, but how he responds is going to be interesting. You talked about him kind of having that little rift with first Marcus Morris and then Terry Rozier at the end of the first half on Monday night. He responded right away in the third quarter by getting the hoop, but then getting called for 3 quick fouls and then heading to the bench. He only played 5 minutes in that third quarter. But in the fourth quarter, he kind of woke up. I don't know how many points, probably like 14 points or something in the fourth quarter. Yeah, so I thought that was a pretty good response. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting to watch over the next 2 to 3 weeks, because I think, like I said before, at least for the next 3 weeks to a month, if you're Brad Stevens, you have to stay with these lineups, right? I mean, it'd be ridiculous to go away from them right now. So it'll be interesting to see if Jaylen can get settled in there. I thought the Jackie McMullen piece was really good. I mean, Jackie Mac's the best, but gave kind of an inside look at his struggles that a lot of people have pointed out. And to be fair, he's being honest, and I'm impressed by that. And I've been impressed by him in the press scrums and stuff, kind of saying all the right things. But watching him on the court is an interesting thing, and he's a guy to really keep a close eye on if you're watching the games over the next few weeks.
Yeah, I think if you're looking at if you try to get Jaylen Brown more playing time, you're taking away playing time from Marcus Morris.
Yeah,
which no one in their right mind would do right now. You know what I mean? So he's in for it right now. He's the odd man out. It's going to be hard for him to crack that 25 plus minutes a night. If he can't adjust, then well.
I'm not crazy about the fact that he cares so much. It's like, look, the team is winning.
You're
up. Playing well.
Yes.
And then again, we don't know when Jack McMullen got these quotes from Jaylen Brown. Sean's getting pumped up here because I'm actually, I'm hashing some criticism towards Jaylen Brown, which is something I rarely do on this podcast, Chris. So Sean's loving it. Sean's not a huge fan of Jaylen. But my whole thing about Jaylen is if you're playing well and the team is winning, I mean,
shut your mouth.
Just prove it. Exactly. Just prove it. I mean, I don't know. It was a bit eye-opening for me to hear these, or I should say to read these, the quotes from Jackie's piece. I just didn't think that's where his head was at.
It's kind of a weird dynamic because, in the press scrums and when he's asked the questions, he does say all the right things. He's like, if we're winning, I'm 100% in for it, But then he goes and says these kind of things to Jackie. So I don't know, man. He's a very complex person. He's one of the more fascinating individuals around the league. I know a lot of people don't like him because of that, but he's a hard guy to figure out. And I have tried countless times to try and see really where his head's at, and whether it be talking to him after a practice or just listening to him in a press scrum, and God knows what the hell he's thinking. I have no idea. So I like to try and find that out when he's on the court, but who really knows, especially after those quotes to Jackie. So I don't know.
How strong of an influence does Kyrie Irving have on him? Because from Jackie's piece, at least from a certain angle, it seemed like when he heard or, found out that Kyrie pretty much co-signed this lineup change that Brad Stevens which has obviously been successful, it seemed like he was a bit taken back by that. And it seemed like the quotes from Kyrie Irving sort of put him in his place in the sense that look, I know how smart you are. I know you can do this. So I'm going to be extra hard on you because I expect more out of you than anybody else on this team.
Right. I mean, and if you're Jaylen, you got to roll with that punch. That's your leader. That's Kyrie Irving. You can't really do much about it. I can see how it could be a blow to the ego, but you heard Kyrie when this starting lineup won its first 2 games. He said it as passive aggressively as possible. He's basically we are not changing this starting lineup. I will die before we change this starting lineup right now. And obviously Jaylen's probably going to take some brunt of that. He's probably a little, shot to the ego, but like you said, you kind of got to roll with it at that point. It's hard. And I bet he was hurt by it in some way, shape or form, but with the greater good of this team, you just have to go with it. And that's all they preached in the preseason and before this year started was there's sacrifices that are going to have to be made. And Jaylen's just got to learn how to walk the walk. He definitely knows how to talk the talk, but it's yet to be seen if he can really walk that walk.
All right, Chris, we'll get you out on this. So, with Al Horford out for, it seems like for quite some time here, if you ask me, I wouldn't mind not seeing him until 2019. This is a guy that you're going to need down the stretch. You're going to need him in the playoffs. Yeah. Let him heal up. Let him get to being 100%. And let's see some more Robert Williams. What's your take on what Robert Williams has been able to do in this increased role? He obviously is getting meaningful minutes here. He hasn't disappointed.
Time Lord.
Yep, that's the name everyone calls him. Sometimes I'm reluctant to say it, but it seems like everyone is saying it, so I guess I just have
There was people in DC last night screaming Time Lord. It was everywhere.
And then you got Danny Ainge commenting on it, so now it's official. Like, that is his name for life, it seems like, for his entire career.
Danny Ainge made a couple enemies on Twitter today by shooting down saying that we could make a better nickname. People were not happy. That thing's taken on a life of its own. You had Rachel Nichols on The Jump calling him Time Lord.
Yeah, but then when you're Danny Ainge, if you address it, it's done now. It's set in stone. Like, that is his name. It's locked in.
The second you try to change it, man, everyone's like, no, never changing it.
You're standing in front of a freight train, man. Like, it's not going to change. But I think his minutes.
You don't like Rob. What was it? Rob? No, Lob. Rob. What was it? What did he suggest?
Lob Williams.
Good one, Danny. It's like a dad joke nickname.
I was just gonna say that's a dad joke. Yeah, that's a dad joke.
That's like Danny Ainge saying Scary Terry. We get a kid call him Scary Terry anymore.
Well, maybe that's what Danny was going for. He said, "No, I'm going to make sure this name sticks." So I'm going to pretend I don't like it.
Lob Rob and Scary Terry.
So, Chris, do you see him cracking this rotation down the road, or is this sort of just a temporary fix until Al Horford comes back?
I think it's a temporary fix. I don't think the Celtics want to rush his development at all. They've got, Alex Barlow on the staff has been following him around and basically guiding him through this rookie year up until this point, and he's going to continue to do that. And they spoke about it right after they drafted him with all this depth. They have the luxury of being able to take their time with him. He's a younger guy who's an extremely talented player, but he's still really raw. You saw it a couple times last night where in a defensive set where they're going up against a high ball screen, he does struggle. And it comes with footwork and it comes with basketball IQ, and that stuff will develop over time. But I don't think there's a need to rush him into this rotation. So I think it's a temporary fix right now. Once Baines is back to 100%, even if Horford is still out, Williams, as much as a lot of people don't want to hear it, is well below Baines and Tice in that rotation just because of his balanced game. Like, Tice you look at his real plus minus and you look at his net rating, it's really good, and it's right next to Aaron Baines's. And so you put Robert Williams on the floor and you lose some of that balance. So he is fun to watch, but I think it's a temporary fix for now while Horford is out. I do agree with you in saying that I wouldn't mind not seeing Horford until 2019. Why rush him back? You're not struggling right now. You have it while Baines is healthy. You do have depth at that 5 spot. Patellar tendonitis is something that can really linger, especially with a veteran guy like Al Horford. You're going to need him to be 100% down the road and for the playoffs. So there's no point in rushing him back right now. So I'm cool with, I don't want to say shutting him down, but just keeping him on the shelf for a couple weeks and letting him fix this issue and take your time with Williams. You don't need to rush either of them into roles that they're not needed in.
All right. He is Chris Grenham. Find him on Twitter at Chris Grenham, SB Nation, CelticsBlog.com. You can check out his stuff there. And of course, check him out on CLNS Media YouTube channel after every single game. Celtics home game. Chris, appreciate you stopping by, man. We'll talk again soon.
Thanks, fellas. Have a good one.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Joseph Pavone from the Causeway Street Podcast. Here to remind you, if you haven't already, to subscribe to us on iTunes. Also leave a rating. And if you haven't, what's your problem? Because we need that. We told you. We've been telling you this for like 2 years now.
Yes.
It really helps.
No
ad here. We're not selling anything here. This is just me telling you to subscribe and rate us.
Subscribe today.
Jaylen Brown, guy's averaging 21 points. 3 games he's been back.
What?
And I'm thinking to myself, I can't wait to see what Sean's going to say. And then, of course, Jackie McMullen drops this article. And I'm like, here's all the fuel Sean needs to go off on why he cannot stand Jaylen Brown. So with that being said, Sean, go ahead.
On the same
Talk
day.
your shit. The floor is yours.
No.
What's your reaction to the article? Because you've already started from the conversation we had with Grenham.
Before the article even dropped, we were already talking about him, and you promised last episode you were going to be positive.
But then the Jackie McMullen article had to come out days before this podcast.
Say nothing else. I promised that I wasn't going to say nothing else. Then I get the text from Sway with the article. He's like, yo, we need to talk about this next episode. I was like, how do you want me to be positive But this confirms everything that I've been trying to say is just basically confirmed in that article.
Yeah, but he's not saying anything negative. My only thing about the article, and like I said when we were talking to Grenham, my only thing is it just seems like he's a little too obsessed with starting. He's like, oh, I'm going to show everyone that I belong there. And it's just like, how about you just continue to play well?
No,
how about we just keep that going?
There's obviously like good chip on the shoulder type thing. Like, I want to be a starter. Terry Rozier has it. He says it all the time.
Yeah,
we've gotten on him before about it.
Yeah, but there's one thing though, if he's been a starter this whole time he's been in the NBA.
Yeah, right.
Like, bro, you were a starter and you played starter minutes because Gordon Hayward went down. Let's be honest.
No, let's be honest. He's had one good half season.
What?
Including the playoffs. Okay.
Like,
yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
He was started off.
He struggled the beginning half of last season. I give you that. He struggled.
One good half season, and that's it. Now he thinks he's a starter in the league.
I think what's driving him nuts is the fact that it isn't Hayward that's starting in front of him. He's like, okay, I get it. Hayward's back. He's the max guy. He's the one that's supposed to be, the Robin to Kyrie Irving's Batman. I get it. I can take a step back, but wait a minute. Hold on a second. Hold on. Marcus Smart is starting in front of me.
Damn
Marcus
right.
Morris is in the starting lineup. Oh, no. This can't be right. I was the one hitting the big shots in the playoffs. I was the one making the big plays. I'm the one that has, I have more weapons offensively than both of these guys. And I can provide a spark on the defensive side of things. I think that's what's bothering him. I think he can't get over the fact that it isn't Gordon Hayward that's starting in front of him. It's Marcus Smart and Marcus Morris.
Well, before he actually was relegated to the bench, he was injured. So when Smart started for those couple of games that he was out, they were like, we're not gonna mess us up. And he was all for it. He was like, yeah, man, I want to get back to winning and all that other stuff. And then, like you said, this article comes out and it's like, wait a minute, dude. It's like, what
the fuck are you talking
what
about?
the hell are you talking about?
None
Like,
of this, no, what?
no. Not only that, he says like, he comes off as like, I can't believe, I got to get to this. Is like the most hardest thing in my life right now. I'm like, really, bro?
Yeah,
like,
really? This is the hardest thing.
This is the hardest thing.
You silver spoon motherfucker.
No, not.
Well, I think he meant his basketball life. So I'm not
Well,
talking about like
I mean,
his,
but the way
his entire life.
And then, but then, do you remember in the summer or like in preseason when he was like, I think I'm going to win like 4 or 5, 6 championships before I turn 30. It's
You
like,
know
whoa,
what?
it's like, whoa, guy.
Do you remember?
Pump the
Do you
brakes,
remember when he
yo.
said that? He literally said that
He was feeling
the
himself.
very next day after we released the podcast, and we didn't even talk about that. That was insane. I hated that he said that.
I was like, wait a second.
Well,
He's like 4 or 5. He said,
Yo, not even.
he goes 4 or 5 championships. I'm like, dude, you're not even like the 4th or 5th best player on this team.
This is
Yo,
like
not even
this is
Tatum.
my favorite segment.
Not
ever.
even Tatum.
Keep going.
No,
Keep
because
going. I'm
no,
loving
because
this, man.
we're
I'm
not.
loving this.
My thing with
Oh,
him,
you are.
my
Oh,
thing
you
with
are.
him
You're
is
not-
it's
you're
not
not
basketball related. You just hate him as a person, as a basketball player.
What?
You just hate him in general. But like some of the stuff that he says, and I don't know,
stupid.
and I feel bad for
Let's say
the,
it.
I feel bad for the scrums that you're in, Sway, when he speaks, because I can't understand half the word he fucking says.
Oh yeah, you got to be like
Before,
up in space.
especially
Yeah.
after games.
Yeah, you can't
Like,
hear anything. You're not
He
in
went
space.
off the other night against the Pelicans, and it's like, bro, it's like, stop being too cool for school. Like, accept the fact that you played well, and because of your production off the bench, the bench went off for like 40-something points.
Yeah.
Let's say he had a lot to do with that. Great.
Right.
But, and then you get, and kudos to Jackie, because I guess Jackie is the one that gets these things out of these players.
Yeah.
No, she's
To,
really
like-
good with mentally unstable people, man.
No, he's
Talks
like,
to her very well.
she's like the Oprah of the NBA.
Yeah.
Like, people just open up to Jackie
But
in
I-
ways that they don't open up with anybody else.
That's true. That's 100% accurate.
Whether it's a stupid thing that they say or something that's not
Right.
stupid, it's still
But
like,
with Jackie, I thought it was more with veterans.
Well, I
The
feel
fact that he got Jaylen Brown to open up this much, I'm like, wow, that was impressive.
I think that's why Jackie dropped it. Jackie was like, this is perfect. Like, I'm going to drop this right now while he's not playing and see how people react to it.
Well, we didn't know he wasn't going to play though.
No, I just, but
Which, by the way, was he sick or was he just like, no,
No,
I didn't know
he
this
was-
article's coming out today. I'm taking it.
No,
down.
Brad-
I think he's
Brad Stevens
mentally
says-
weak. Yeah, I think so.
nah, Brad
I think
Stevens
we
said
can
it
add
after
that to the list.
Brad Stevens said it after that he was warming up and he just
called
couldn't
out?
go. Yeah.
Nah,
You know
he
what?
called out
Yeah,
sick, man.
he-
No, he was warm.
Yeah,
called out
no,
sick.
you know what feeling he probably had? Like, you've never been really hungover in the morning. You're like, oh man, what did I do last night? Your friends are in the other room. You're like, I don't want to go in there. You know what I mean?
You check your phone,
Just
you see,
regret.
Jackie McMullen dropped this today?
Just
Shit.
regret all over the place, man. Nah, man, I'm telling you, I was trying to think about this today. I don't think there is any argument that would make me be like, you know what? Yeah, Jaylen Brown is a piece of the future for the Celtics team. There's nothing, absolutely nothing that you could convince me.
But that's just it,
And this
though.
was before the argument. I mean, the article dropped. This was my view on it the entire time. And now I think it's really funny that everybody is like, oh, wow, Jalen's really weird, huh?
No, I mean,
Yeah, man.
Jalen's
I've
always
trying
been
to
weird.
tell you
Like
that.
you were mad at his rookie season that he didn't go do the dunk contest. You're like, oh, why? Why does he want to go do the
For
dunk
the
contest?
same reason. I'm not a starter. I'm not going to be in the dunk contest.
I
Like,
mean-
you know, get like he's just like this. Sometimes like you can be too cerebral to be a good athlete. Like he's in his headspace. He's talking to
Well,
himself.
he has his
No, it's
moments.
Too much.
He has his
Too
moments,
much.
like
It's
off
too
the
much.
court, like you know,
He's not good enough to be that in his head.
Yeah.
No, he's not that good. I mean, he's not good enough to be that way. Like, if he's in the perfect situation, a la the beginning of 2018, when minutes open up, you have a coach that's supporting you, you have a system that's around you, you're going to get unlimited minutes, they'll work with you through bad stretches, then he'll be fine. But the second you throw a little bit of adversity, Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals, big games on the road in the playoffs, he is gone. He's just that type of player. He'll always in a bad team be a good player, but that's about it. That's what you're gonna or unless he somehow matures. I just think he's super immature. He's not as good as he thinks he is. And I'm sorry, right now, if you're Brad Stevens, you can't force feed him minutes. You can't take minutes away from Hayward, who's just starting to turn it around. You can't take minutes away from Marcus Morris, who's been your best player on the team. You can't take minutes away from Jason Tatum, who's been arguably the second best player on the team when
he's second best scorer.
Second best scorer on the team,
Yeah.
or maybe even third best because Marcus Morris has played so well.
I mean, Tatum has had his ups and downs.
Tatum's
too,
your second best player on the team. Like,
Right.
but just
Morris has
second
been
best player on the team.
your second most consistent player.
Right. Talent wise, Tatum's
Yeah.
your second best player, and he hasn't had a down year. I guess he hasn't had a down year. Whatever. You can't take minutes away from them. You can't baby Jaylen Brown anymore. I'm sorry, Jaylen. If this is your third year in the NBA, you're a borderline veteran in the NBA, and you can't figure it out. I'm sorry. It's time to cut ties. It's time to say, let's build something. Let's build something else here.
Yeah, see, that's what drives me nuts because
He's doing well, though,
You're
off the
playing
bench,
well.
though.
You
Yeah.
figured it out.
Yeah.
Your team has figured it out.
No, you
Marcus
haven't figured
Morris
it out yet.
and Marcus
You
Morris.
haven't figured it out yet.
He's
Figured it
playing
out.
at a high
Time
level
out,
right
time
now.
out, time out,
He's
though.
shooting 56% from the
Sure,
floor.
sure.
in 25 minutes.
Right. So when he's been playing well, when
Gordon Hayward doesn't
hasn't
play
been there,
well. No. They've played together, and Gordon Hayward has not played well when Jaylen Brown, and they both are in.
and guess what happened? They lost.
They won. What are you talking about? They're on a 7-game winning streak.
No, Hayward and Brown haven't played in.
I'm talking about six. No, I'm talking
streak.
about. Yes, they have.
They played one game.
They played 3 games.
One game.
3 games.
No, they haven't.
No, they played
After the 30 after the 30
the
point
first
game.
3 games Jalen didn't play. When Jalen came back, they
played one game. Then Hayward's been out for the last 2.
Yeah.
No, they played more.
No,
Maybe
they played 2. They played 2.
Maybe they played 2.
You're right.
Even before Brown came back, after Gordon's 30-point game, he's combined for like 10 or 12 points in the next 3 games. And now that Brown is coming off the bench, playing 25 minutes and being productive, now
All I can say is
he's figured it out.
we go back to what we said. The Celtics
Whether he likes
saw
it or
the
not is another
schedule,
story.
and we said we need a 5 or 6 game win streak. They've done it. Okay.
7, yes.
Right, which now it's 7. So this is great. Better than we even thought they would be, right? But,
Well, you said between then and Christmas, so we still got a couple more games.
yeah, I just meant they have to
But you
rack
said
off a couple
somewhere
wins.
in the middle of
Have a
that,
couple
yeah.
win streaks.
Have a 6 or 7 game winning streak, yeah.
So
they've done that.
But here's the thing, is how they've done it. They haven't been at really full strength for this entire stretch. That goes back to my original point of just saying that there still could be too many cooks in the kitchen.
For the NBA, there's no such thing, bro. There's no such thing because
if-
it's up to the coach to figure that out, and quite frankly, he's figured it out.
If you have prima donnas that want minutes and
But,
shots, which is what was the number one reason why?
He can say all that, but then he's still productive.
No, but it's hard to say that Brad has figured it out when.
No, we talk about Jaylen Brown.
Oh, okay. No, well, that's a lie. I mean, he's
Every
obviously
game since
saying
he's been
these
back,
things.
besides Wednesday because he didn't play.
Oh.
He's been averaging over 20 points a game in 25 minutes, 6 rebounds, more than Hayward has. See, the thing is,
that's
with
in
those
3
quotes,
games.
with those quotes, we don't know when they came out or when the interview happened. But besides the fact, Brad Stevens gave Jaylen Brown more of an opportunity than Gordon Hayward because Jaylen Brown was the one that got injured first, and they were still like, no, we're gonna go with Hayward off the bench. We're gonna go with Smart. We're going with Morris.
And then everything changed.
And everything changed.
They started winning games, yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't like the
Or
fact.
was that when Jaylen Brown went out? They started winning games.
I just don't like the fact that both of these guys are playing amazing basketball. Between Smart and Morris, You're playing well off the bench. What's the problem? The team is winning. Like, I can understand the team wasn't winning, or I can understand if you were struggling and you're thinking to yourself, well, if I was starting, maybe I'd be producing more.
Right.
If you're playing at a high level, Marcus Morris and Marcus Smart have been ridiculously well. I mean, look at Marcus Morris alone. The last 2 games, he's averaging nearly 30 points. You know, of course, it's a small sample size, but you can say the same thing about Jaylen Brown. I mean, I just don't understand these quotes. I don't understand that it's like, oh, I got to prove everyone that I'm a starter. It's like, no, just prove everyone that you can play well, that you can be consistent, that you can play your role on a championship caliber team.
Do it, and
everyone will be happy, and you should be happy with that.
Exactly.
You shouldn't be complaining about that.
I don't think he is happy with that, and that's what it comes down to. That's really
but you're trying to see this dude traded. I'm not trying to see him traded. I'm trying to see him be happy, because I get a bad feeling that if he doesn't get what he wants down the road, if we're talking about in March or whatever, and he starts to struggle, this is going to be a bigger problem. This is going to be magnified. This is going to be like, oh, well, I need to be a starter. That's why I'm struggling. Brad needs to put me in the lineup. I don't think he's the kind of guy that would go to the media and complain about it.
Who, Jaylen?
Yeah, Jaylen. But,
he just did, basically.
I do see him being the type of guy who might check out. If he checks out, then you got a problem. If the deadline comes and goes and he's checked out, then you're in a situation where you're like, okay, well, what do we do with this guy now? Because now we have him for another year. We have to get him fully involved, because I do think he's an important piece to this offense and this defense. He's an important piece,
especially if you're going to have guys out
to this run.
You're going to have guys out, especially Gordon Hayward, whether he's sick or not, or it's going to be a couple game stretch where his ankle is sore. Jaylen's going to be your number one guy off the bench offensively, because right now Terry Rozier, as well as he's been playing, his numbers are across the board have just been low.
Can we talk about something like, you want to talk about the 2 different kind of players? Terry Rozier started off the year slow, and there was talk when they were losing, which is a big difference, of him wanting to be a starter. There was rumors floating out there. He shot down the rumors. Never had an expose with Jackie McMullen. Never whined to the media about, oh, I want to be a starter.
So you think this is whining to the media?
I think, 1,000%. Jaylen Brown knows what he's doing. If he wants to take credit for being this smart guy, this really deep thinking guy, then yeah, he knows exactly what he's doing right now. And I think truthfully it backfires, because I think for all the smarts that he could have, I don't think he has a ton of common sense, and I don't think he understands how the Boston fan base looks at athletes. You know what I mean? Like, what do we want to see from our athletes? Do anything to win. That's all we care about.
Right.
We don't care about if you're a starter. We don't care about if you're an all-star putting up points. If you're playing your role well,
and the team is winning,
we will love you. Like, there'll be no problem. He doesn't get that, and I don't think he ever will. But I think, juxtaposed to Terry Rozier, I think Terry Rozier does get that. You know what I mean? And I think it maybe took him a little bit at the beginning of the year to realize it, but he slid into his role. He's playing better now. He's understanding his role, and I think he realizes, like, if I want to get paid next year, I'll just do well on a good team, and I'll get paid. That's it. Jaylen Brown will never figure that.
I can't wait to see how he bounces back, because you can't ignore this article. Obviously, the team can't ignore it. Everyone's going to be sort of like, all eyes are on Jaylen Brown now, moving forward, because of this article.
It's mad weird. That was a national article.
Yeah.
That was for ESPN.com. That wasn't for like the Boston Globe.
No, it's Jackie McMullen. Yeah, she writes for ESPN.
You know what?
ESPN.com.
You know what's the ironic?
Front page of the NBA section.
No, ESPN, the website.
What's wrong with Jaylen Brown?
Front page of ESPN
like,
website.
What is he, Gilbert Grape or some shit, bro?
What are you going to say, Joel?
The irony of all of this is, do you remember in the, like, probably around training camp or prior to the start of training camp, where I remember Marcus Morris was getting interviewed. And they were like, oh, everybody was so excited. Like, we just came off of Game 7 against LeBron James, almost went to the finals. Now you got Gordon Hayward coming back to the mix and Kyrie Irving. And all Morris was like, his only response was, I don't know what my role is going to be.
That's after the season just ended, yeah.
Yeah. No, I think it was like in the summer, right before training camp, I think.
No, that was Game 7. That was after they lost to the Cavs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, I mean, I just find it ironic that, like, all he did was shut up and play basketball.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
He came up with the BWA mantra. Yeah. He's like, okay, look, this is my role. We got the deepest bench in the league.
Not only that, but he bought in.
You guys, thinking that I'm all about my minutes, my role. We're going to figure it out. Yeah, he bought in.
Like,
exactly.
he bought in. And I just think that because it was whoever was, Jack McMullen, when you get interviewed by Jack McMullen, maybe he was feeling himself and he's just like,
drop your pants.
Jeez. I don't know if he did that.
That could be probably taken the wrong way.
Yeah.
That's not what I meant to say.
Or was it?
Ain't no sexual relations happening in there. Sheesh.
So I don't know. Maybe
Get what I was
because of the interviewer was he just I don't know, just went off cuff, and he's just like, bro, like maybe.
Oh no, she loves that.
Yeah, I know she loves it. Of
It's
course,
compelling stuff.
But I bet you know after reading it, he's probably gonna be like, shit. A lot of that might have been taken out of context. I should just shut up and just play ball, and that's it because he's getting his minutes.
The team's winning.
Gordon Hayward, he'll be in and out, so whatever. I think eventually Gordon Hayward will start again, and I think Jaylen could be, your potential sixth man. That's just me for now.
What happened? So what happens if Jaylen Brown can't adjust to this role this year?
Somebody else got to take his place.
I know. That's
simple as that. You know how Brad Stevens is. Next man up.
So Jaylen Brown's just going to sit on the bench?
I mean, if it comes to that,
and don't worry, Jaylen. Next year we'll get him. We'll get him next year.
You'll have what you want. Like you said, too many cooks in the kitchen. There's one big cook that's going to take a seat.
What if you could get Jamal Crawford and next
cooks,
year's Suns pick?
Here we go.
For Jaylen Brown.
The Celtics don't need any more draft picks, bro. They can't even get rid of the ones they have.
Yeah, you can always use draft picks. Ask Danny if you can use draft picks, man.
No, man. If you're putting If you're putting if you're putting someone like Jaylen Brown in a trade, you better be getting a perennial All-Star or someone close to it.
See, I think you're overvaluing that asset right there because
no, I'm in Danny Ainge's head right now.
No, but think about it. Who are you going to get for Jaylen Brown?
But that's just it, though. If you think he's so bad. If he's a bad player, if he's a bad teammate, so then what's attractive for someone else?
No, you have to be I think the Suns are one of the perfect teams, or like the Hawks, but the Hawks really have nothing that we want. I'm saying like those rebuilding teams that are looking for another piece to put next to a Trae Young, to put next to a Devin Booker, someone that proved themselves in the playoffs, and obviously, like you're going to be able to read between the lines here. There's just too many good players on this team.
No, Ainge is holding out on Anthony Davis, man. I'm telling you, it's either Anthony Davis or a fish that's almost as big. I'm telling you.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. If we're playing the what if game,
Jaylen Brown in the picks.
What if Gordon Hayward injures himself? He's done for the season. Then what?
Then guess what? You have a shorter bench. Obviously, let me think this through. So you're saying if we trade Jaylen and then Gordon Hayward gets hurt.
Yep.
Okay.
And you have Morris in the starting lineup. Yeah, Smart in the starting lineup.
Okay.
And Jamal Crawford coming off the bench.
Jamal Crawford coming off the bench. Yeah, exactly. Rozier come off the bench. I think you open up minutes.
Wait, when did Jamal Crawford get on this team?
But that was the trade.
The trade for Phoenix. He's talking about trading Jaylen Brown for Jamal Crawford and a pick.
Trade for a veteran. I don't know.
Yeah, you missed that, right? I was like, I'm surprised Joel didn't react the way I thought he would.
You're going to get somebody back, right?
Yeah.
You're going to get somebody back.
Yeah, get 38-year-old Jamal Crawford. Yeah.
He would be more valuable on this team this year for a championship than talk about a guy that accepts his role off the bench. He's coming off the bench for the Phoenix Suns right now, bro. He'll be fine off the bench.
If Danny Ainge would ever make that phone call, the Suns will lock that trade in so fast to make sure he doesn't back out of it because it would be so ludicrous.
If you could get a first-round draft pick for Jaylen Brown right now, I say you do it because here's what I'm trying to say. I guess if they're trying to trade, if like let's say the Pelicans are trying to trade for and hit the blow up button, then I guess there's some value.
That's what Danny is banking on.
There's some type of value, but to get a player like that, Jaylen Brown's not going to do it for him.
Picks,
Tatum is the one that's going to do it for him.
No. Well, right now, I'm in that boat. I'm with you. And right now, if you're the Pelicans, it's Tatum or nothing.
So that's what I'm saying.
But things could change a year from now.
So you're
things
never going to trade Tatum. Trading Tatum right now is dumb.
Okay, what if during the offseason, the Sacramento Kings, which they're already doing, by the way, they're back to what we want them to do, is lose. They're in ninth right now. Let's say they drop to second to last because they're not going to go lower than the Suns, and they end up with the fourth pick. What do the Pelicans think now? Or the third pick, or the second pick, and you got Zion on the board. You telling me the Pelicans are not going to think about trading for Jaylen Brown and having a chance to pick Zion and combining those two together, and who knows, another future pick, and couple that with a sign and trade deal with Terry Rozier. There's a lot of options here.
Yeah, but think about the other side. If you think, so here's the question. If you think your team is good enough without Jaylen Brown, let's say full health, don't throw a Hayward injury in there. If you think that they're good enough to get through the Eastern Conference this year without Jaylen Brown, then it's absolutely no-brainer you trade Jaylen Brown for a pick. Because if that Sacramento pick does turn into Zion Williamson or a top 2, top 3 pick in the league.
Yeah, it can't be number 1 though.
Then you just build around Tatum and Kyrie and Hayward and Horford, and that's your 4, and then you keep bringing in young guys that hopefully blend in better than Jaylen Brown has been blending in. I mean, if you can get a good player, and then guess what? You get another first round pick next year. Like, you don't need, if you think that draft.
I don't think Anthony Davis is the end all be all. That's what you're going to say.
I don't know. I just think that two things. You know how I feel about Jaylen Brown. I'm done talking about it. I can't do this anymore. It's exhausting. And also, I'm sick and tired of talking about trading for Anthony Davis. I think it's stupid. I think what's going to end up happening is they're going to wait. Like, we were all in agreement before the season started that they shouldn't trade for Anthony Davis. They should wait for free agency.
I agree with that. I'm talking about next offseason.
Drop one little boop, and then all of a sudden, whoa, we're going to trade for Anthony Davis.
Look,
we're going to trade for him.
I'm talking about the next
offseason. Just let him be a free agent. Just let him be a free agent. Let the Knicks give up Porzingis and a bunch of picks to trade for him for half a season, then have him sign with Boston. Like, you don't need to trade for him. Your team's fine without Davis right now. You don't need him. Right now. Like, you don't need him. Just sign him as a free agent. When Horford's up, sign him. It matches up perfectly. Like, I don't know why we freak out about trading Anthony Davis. Like, it's just, we were all cool until somebody dropped a little report. Well, Anthony Davis has shortened his trade list. Everyone's like, oh, let's give up everybody. Oh my God. Trade him. No, man, just chill. Just hold out. We got draft picks. We can either be really good on draft picks or you'll sign Anthony Davis. That's it. We'll be all right.
All right, we'll see what happens. We'll see what Jaylen Brown does, how he responds to this article, how he responds to these quotes, to this criticism.
I'm pulling for you.
For some reason, I don't believe that, Sean, but all right.
No, man. Now maybe I'll
say what you want.
Now that the whole, everyone's sort of turning on him, maybe I'll be the big supporter.
Yeah, with
Jaylen Brown.
Me and Sway are turning him for off the court behavior, not for on the court.
Yeah,
production.
I didn't like what he had to say. I'm not turning on him as a player.
Yeah, me neither.
Just like I didn't like when Kyrie Irving threw the ball in the stands in Denver.
I feel like your whole thing is like, oh, he's not going to be a superstar, so why keep him? It's like, well, he's still an important piece. You don't have to be a superstar and to not be an important piece on this team at least. On a Brad Stevens team, ask Evan Turner.
But I just feel like how
fuck that. Ask Isaiah Thomas.
I'm gonna say something weird. This may not work. This may not be a good analogy. So cut it off. It's stupid. Nah, just fuck it. I'm not even gonna say it.
All right, cool.
All right, let's wrap this up. In case you missed it, the same way we wrap up every single episode, we take a trip around the NBA, and Joel reads us headlines. Joel, what do you got?
I got nothing, guys. I got Steph Curry and his thoughts about
you're the best, man.
The moon.
Oh, I think that's enough in case you missed it for this one.
Yeah.
Oh.
So 30 seconds each.
Wait, set us up. Come on, set us up.
All right. Each one y'all get a minute and a half apiece.
Oh!
Talk your shit about Steph Curry, who now denies and says that he was just joking.
The 8 Mile reference, I guess. I got you, Joe. I know what you did.
Future. You know me, man.
Yo, drop that beat. No, I'm just kidding.
You know me and my conspiracy theories.
What's about to happen?
Drop that Mob Deep real quick.
Each of these cats, they get a minute and a half apiece. I don't know what's going to happen.
No, you know what? You know what I really get pissed off at is the fact
when other people have conspiracy theories that.
No.
All right, so let's for those who don't know, let's talk about what he mentioned. Yeah, I'm sorry. Let me
go
get
for
into
it.
that. Yeah. He's Steph Curry.
I love how no one else can drop conspiracy theories. Only Sean.
You're missing what I'm saying.
Okay, all right.
Doesn't believe anything related to the moon landing.
Thinks it was staged.
He thinks it was staged. That pretty much sums it up, right? I don't know what else to say about this.
Yeah, he thinks it was staged.
All right.
Which is a very common conspiracy theory.
Yeah, it's not the craziest.
A lot of people out there, there's been documentaries on this shit.
Yeah.
Like the History Channel had shit on this shit.
Must have been interesting to live in the 60s, by the way.
Yeah. And you know what? Some of the arguments are pretty fucking compelling. I'm not going to lie. Like, if that's the one you want to pick, fine. I'm cool with it. Here's the problem is I hate when people make fun of somebody for believing in a conspiracy theory. I hate that shit.
They just immediately shut it down.
You should be able, just so
to state facts to prove or to disprove whatever.
Question what people fucking say.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? Like
I
that should be part of your fucking idea. Like
to have facts to back up with your theory.
You don't even need facts. You just have to ask
question everything.
Question everything.
Yeah.
Don't let people be like, no, it was real. Don't worry. And you're stupid for thinking it. You're an idiot. You're disservicing all the members of the NASA that have died. And,
yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
The first thing I think of is the 9/11 thing. Like, some people are just like, oh, yeah, did you see the documentary? Like,
That's a different story.
Wait, would you believe that? No, but I'm saying, but like,
Shaw got mad serious. Shaw was like, whoa.
No.
Whoa.
That's what we don't tell.
I'm not saying, I'm not saying,
we can talk about Stevie Wonder all day, but.
I'm not saying that you should believe it, but I'm saying like, you like, hey, check out the documentary. No, I'm not watching that. It's like, they're completely against this. Like, well, you will watch, ridiculous YouTube videos for an hour that has on things that have
go watch the news,
the stupidest things, or you watch the news.
The news is doing the same shit.
Yeah.
The news is a bunch of conspiracy theories. They're just feeding you what the fuck they want to hear.
But you won't just like give this.
Wow. Yeah, I shouldn't buy romaine lettuce anymore.
Yeah.
I'm gonna die. Oh
Ground
my
beef?
God.
Oh no!
I'll never eat romaine lettuce again.
It's like, but you won't just
start
watch
going,
it.
You
You're not
going
gonna
to
watch
the
it.
salad bar. Hey, buddy, is this an iceberg or romaine? Gotta know. Can't eat romaine. All right. Even though you've been eating it your whole goddamn life. Now all of a sudden it's bad because somebody on the news said it. So yeah, question everything, everybody. This is why Trump is president, because we have half of the stupid fucking nation not questioning a single goddamn thing. All right? He's not building a wall, okay? He's not doing anything. Just stop fucking, oh my God. This is why we're so stupid. No one questions everything. And God forbid you say the moon landing was fake, and then the NBA comes out and probably said, hey, Steph, come on, really? They did the same thing to Kyrie with his stupid Earth flat stuff. Now the flat Earth stuff is just,
yo, hey, Paul Pierce is a flat earther too, man.
Whatever. I get the idea behind it. You just question everything, okay? Question everything. And eat your romaine lettuce. It's good for you.
What was the other thing that was like 10 years ago with the ham? People didn't eat ham for like 2 months because,
I'm sure. I'm sure there are people that still don't eat ham.
Swine flu.
Oh, the swine flu.
Yeah, remember that?
Which had nothing to do with ham. That was something that someone went out there and said,
H1N1. Make sure you get your shot.
yeah.
I had a free flu shot because of that, and I got sick afterwards.
I vividly remember Sean being like, "Oh boy, you got ham on that plate." We were like eating breakfast at Cheney and the cafeteria. It's like, oof,
No.
watch out for that swine, bro. Like it's a joke. It's just like, oh yeah,
It was that bacon, bro?
I swear, people just make
pigs, right?
people just make this stuff up and people buy it. And then one guy says something like this, like Steph Curry,
Sausage.
and everyone loses their mind. It's crazy.
Yeah. That's the way we're living today.
Gotta watch Wag the Dog. Remember that movie? Like, watch that. Watch that. See how things can be
You know what?
staged.
I'm just telling you.
Wag
I'm
the
just
Dog.
telling you.
Great movie.
I'm just telling you.
All you communication majors out there, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
I don't care about political affiliation or whatever, but I'm just saying right now we are living the movie Wag the Dog. Every time the Russian shit comes up and the thing that Trump's gonna get caught on, Stormy Daniels is over here just fucking getting naked sucking Trump. Oh my God, look at that. What? Don't look at the actual stuff that he did and all this stuff that Putin's running our country. Look at Stormy Daniels' old saggy tits. Maybe you could get with her still. You know, you never know.
Your minute and a half is up. Sway?
No, I'm done, man.
Rebuttal?
Sean just took the whole 3 minutes, man. It was well worth it, though. I like it.
You gonna pull a B rabbit in the first round and just walk away?
No, I'm gonna pull a Papa Doc.
Papa Doc. Papa Doc wins. No,
He's B rabbit.
B rabbit. My bad. B rabbit. All right.
I'm out.
And I live in a trailer park. And whatever, my girl. I'm still sitting up there saying fuck the free world.
I do live in a trailer with my mom.
So this is my message to Steph. Don't retract that shit, bro.
Final thought?
Don't retract that shit. Now we
Who's
should all.
the guy before Papa Doc? To the rapper.
The Snoop Dogg looking dude?
Yeah.
If numbers were created by humans, then what makes math real?
Think about that, and then we'll circle back next episode.
Lotto.
Yes, Lotto. That's his name. Lotto won that, by the way. Lotto beat B Rabbit. All right, you heard it here. All right,
Lotto.
He got lucky.
Lotto, call me your leader. I feel bad that I gotta murder that dude from Leave It to Beaver.
No, but that
Yeah.
No, but that B rabbit line when he was like, Lotto, I don't fit you.
It was.
Shirt. That was a
Well,
good line. That was a good line.
Looking like a cyclone hit you. Tank top screaming, Lotto, I don't fit you.
But when he said, "I'll take pictures of my rear so you don't forget my ass," that's a great line. Great line.
I've never
Win this with a
watched-
f you
I've
and
never
a
watched 8 Mile
have
all
a
the way
nice
through.
day. What?
Yeah, something about Brittany Murphy doesn't do it for me.
What the fuck? You never watch 8 Mile
Can't
all the
stand
way
Brittany
through?
Murphy.
Dude, she's in like 20 minutes of the movie.
She's in a lot of movies.
No, they just put her in front of us. So people go watch it. So people who like Brittany Murphy would go watch it. Like,
Nah, I didn't really like it. I didn't really like that movie. I'm not gonna lie.
all right, I'm out.
We just talk about the one scene, not the whole movie.
Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah. So Steph Curry,
Yeah.
good job.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all I got.
And go watch Wag the Dog, everybody.
Yeah, watch Wag the Dog. That's your homework assignment.